Welcome to the Beyond Divorce, Embracing Change podcast. My name is Michael Flores, and I will be your host while we explore the complex journey of divorce with empathy, insight, and practical knowledge. Whether you're contemplating separation, in a divorce, or looking for support post-divorce, our episodes provide expert guidance, stories, and strategies to help you through every step of the process. We are actual therapists, helping clients who sit on our couches every day through their difficulties of divorce. You are not alone. Join us as we delve in and find solutions that give you hope again. We're glad you're here.
This podcast is not intended to replace legal or personal help. This podcast is for informational purposes only.
Good day to you, everyone, and thank you so much for being back here with us on Beyond Divorce, Embracing Change. We are excited to have Arrianna join us today for a really awesome title, The Soundtrack of Divorce. And I love the title. And I think it's funny because what's funny, Arrianna, for me is a soundtrack is like something like we created like a mixtape, you know? Mm-hmm. But it's like it's that same music that you like to hear over and over and over again. I did a podcast with Armando where he talked about listening to his old music, like he's like it's my playlist from wherever long ago, but it takes me back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so kids develop a soundtrack obviously from things that they're probably told or things that come up, it sounds like, with parents. And so I really think this is great, and I think it's great to show parents like, here's a way to help you develop the right playlist for your kid, right, in their mind. So I really appreciate it. I think it's wonderful. Where would you suggest we start with this topic?
Yeah, so I kind of want to talk about, kind of preface this as we're going into some of these pieces, you know, and touch back on what do kids need and what do kids not need? What should we keep out of their narrative? I think when coming up with this kind of topic and the title and all of that stuff, I pictured, you know, how many of us have sat in a school bus looking forlornly out the window, imagining, you know, the song that's playing in the background. And so I really do hope that just kind of where we go today resonates with the audience and that they're able to take home some of these pieces.
Yeah.
So, you know, every family has a soundtrack, and this episode really is to help you think about what emotional tone are you creating for your child. So things that kids probably don't need as you're parenting and navigating this tricky world, the backstory, especially when it comes to divorce and conflict between you and your spouse. I'm sure, Michael, we have this all the time when we have our first intake session with the new family, and how much of that is backstory, right? And going through everything that happened, all of the experiences and the text messages, and sometimes there's binders of things that have happened. But the kids don't need that. They need to have stability. They don't need the play-by-play, the behind-the-scenes, the emotional processing. And listeners, it sucks. I can't imagine, you know, from where you are, your story, what you're experiencing, the hurt that you're feeling. But just remember that your child needs safety, and they need permission to be able to love both of their parents.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that some parents have their backstories as kind of like a badge of their experience. And so what it really is, and I feel like parents do this with us a lot, they want us to know the backstory so that we can have an understanding of why they do things the way they do. Or they may say, you know, I know it feels odd that I don't want to be in the same room with my ex, but you need to know what happened so now it will make sense. Make sense? Like, and I think parents do the same thing with their kids. They, like, if a kid says, hey, mom, dad, can y'all come to my baseball game? Right? And one of the parents doesn't like going to the events if they know the other parent's going to be there. Well, the parent feels like I got to explain to them why.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be there. And so the only way to do that is to tell them their backstory. The problem is the backstory is more aligned with your marriage than probably as your parents, right? So you're telling the backstory of your experience as a wife or as a husband, and the child is not experiencing y'all in the same capacity. That relationship they have is very different. They're not your husband or your wife. they're your kid and you're their parent. And so what I think it suggests is, rather than going through it with your kid and telling them the backstory, you ask them, what is it about me being at the game with your dad, or what is it about me being at the game with your mom that's really important to you?
Mm-hmm.
If they're asking, there's a reason the kid's asking. So if you really take an interest in their need, you're not interested in your backstory as much as you're interested in what that kid's really saying they want. Why do you think a kid would want both their parents at their baseball game, or both their parents to share the responsibility of taking them to practices, games, whatever else? Well, what makes that important to a child?
Because they're trying to invite you into their world, and it's such a special place, such an honor to be invited to the world of a child.
Yeah.
They've experienced y'all one way. This is probably new, them navigating the two-home situation, and there's instability there. But by being able to come together and attend this interest that this child has, is so important, and I imagine means so much to them to be able to see their parents together.
Yeah, and I think it in some subconscious way for the child, it shows the child that you love me more than you dislike each other, or you choose me over your past, maybe. And so that's why I think it does become a need for a kid, even though it may sound just like it's a want. So that makes sense to me. What else are these kids? You were starting with what they don't need, which is the backstory. Are there other things they don't need?
Yeah, I mean, any additional stress, any added doubt or anxiety or fear about the situation that they're living in and trying to get through. I know that is incredibly hard, especially navigating, as a single parent, as a, whatever this next phase of your role is as the adult. Oftentimes too, I get kiddos in worried about finances, worried about money, worried about, I can't go and do the field trip, or I can't get a new pair of shoes in mine. Maybe not that severe all the time, but that does add worries to them. They are thinking about, let me go grab my piggy bank and help mom out or help dad out, or, because they as much as you are wanting to take care of them, they're wanting to take care of you too. And my fear of, and we see it all the time when they are given that extra emotion and those extra worries and those extra fears, is they start to become parentified and feel like they have to be a parent of you.
Yes, and it gets misinterpreted. I've heard people describe parentification as alienation, and they're really describing parentification, which is a natural thing that a kid wants to do, but they only want to do that because the parent themselves is struggling, and the kid can tell, whether it's emotionally, physically, because there's different types of parentification. And I agree with you 100%. Kids don't need the extra burden. They don't need to know that you're not receiving child support. They don't need to know that, all these, dad cheated on you or mom cheated on you, or, that doesn't serve them in the parental relationship. That's part of your marital relationship. That's part of your co-parenting relationship, which is still separate from their, relationship directly with their child. And I think that I'm glad you brought this topic up, Arrianna, because what you're doing is you're going into what do they need and what do they not need. And I like that you split it into two, because some parents may think there's a not need that should sound like a need.
Yes.
Like they confuse the two. And so I'm glad you're kind of deciphering those two things. And I agree with you on all the things you've already mentioned that they don't need. Are there other things that have come up that kids don't need that you've come across?
I mean, off the top of my head, those are pretty much the
your fear, your angst. Yeah, they don't need your fear, your angst, your doubts, or your backstory. Yeah. They don't need that. And if you are, now let me ask you this, Arrianna. If a parent's stuck with those things, they're stuck with fear, they're stuck with doubt, uncertainties, or the pain of their backstory, their past, right? They're stuck in that place. What do you suggest they do with it when they're having to make decisions that they know go against the child's hopes? If the child wants them to be at the baseball game together, or wants the child, can you drop me off? That's not at the police station. Can you not take me to the, to the fast food restaurant? Can we just drop me off at the house?
Yeah.
Or can you walk me up to the door or something like that? If a kid wants a request like that and you feel like I'm not in a position where I can do that for the kid, what are you thinking parents need to do in that situation?
I mean, first and foremost, I think it's an opportunity for growth. I think it's a moment, a period in time to be able to look inwards on yourself and really think, you talked about choosing your child over your hurt or choosing your child over your pain.
Yep.
And maybe it is something right now in this moment you can't do. Maybe you can't. Maybe you are hurting so bad that you actually cannot choose your child in this moment. But it's finding ways that you can start fueling them with those yeses, with those compromises, with growing through some of that pain to where you are able to constantly choose your child. Because I imagine that's what you want deep down is for everything to go well for your child. I hear all the time, even with parents who are bickering and refusing to be in the same room, and do you feel the tension in the air and all of these pieces? At the end of the day, they all say the same thing, is that I will do anything for my child. And so I think,
but I won't do that. That song,
right? So we're soundtrack and music.
It works. Yeah. I'm weird like that. Everyone, sorry, my brain does fun.
I mean, that's how we got here for this title.
Exactly.
Something quirky, and that would resonate.
That would resonate. So, I think what I think of too with parents, Arrianna, is like every time I've talked to parents, even the ones that have done things, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did they do such a knucklehead thing there and tell this kid all this information or overshare, because we call it oversharing, right? Then you have coaching, oversharing, alienating, all these different words for things that parents shouldn't be doing. And what I've learned is sometimes the parents do it because they believe it's protecting the child, but sometimes parents do it because they want to protect themselves.
Yeah.
And either way, they do it. If it's to protect the child, it looks like prevention to the other parent. If they're protecting themselves, it looks like alienation to the child. And so if you're trying to protect something, that means you have a fear of something, right? And so until a parent, in my opinion, is able to go back and figure out what's resonating with me that causes me so much concern that it forces me into a situation to believe that I need protection or that my child needs protection. Because as soon as you get rid of that, I think it changes the ability to walk up to the front door and drop your kid off or go to the baseball game. And so what do kids need? Kids need to work on yourself.
Yeah.
I think. What else do they need? Go ahead, continue. Sorry, I'm about to go off. So.
Well, I was actually going to bring us to the next thing for the parents who are still in that hurt, still in that place of uncertainty. Maybe you're in the middle of a legal situation and you're scared of how do I even navigate what I do share with my child and what I don't. Great news. We've got a decision tree for you.
Oh, you're going to give them some today.
Absolutely.
A freebie.
Some questions to ask yourself really as you're going through this, as you're thinking, should I tell my child this? Maybe take a pause, do a quick mental run through these questions and be able to determine for sure whether or not you should or should not disclose that information with them. So I love a good decision tree. I went back to my education roots, and I feel like it's so helpful, especially with those who are handling so much, emotion and anxiety and fear and all those
right.
It's just back to the basics. Yes, no, continue.
Back to the basics. BTBs, back to the basics. And I love that you're using something that we've all probably, I remember as a student, decision trees. I remember those. Didn't even think about how they could be used in this capacity. So I'm so glad. What a great idea for you parents that have remembered in education what a decision tree is. Arrianna's about to explain it to you, and really kind of going through how you can filter. Right? It's a filtering process of navigating what should or should not occur through a decision-making map. And so how would they start this? Like, I know that they're not watching us right now in any capacity. They're hearing us, but maybe we can describe it in a way that they could, if they started, like, you get a pen and paper out and they started to draw this out. Like, what goes, do they turn their page vertical, horizontal? How would you have them do it? Walk them through it.
Yeah, so I did also want to create an infographic for us to be able to share. So coming soon. But, as you're going through this and you're listening to the podcast, just orient your paper however you want. We're going to start with the first question. And then, of course, based on your answer, if yes, continue to the second question. If no, don't tell your child that.
Yeah. You stop right there. Yeah. When you get to know, stop. Okay.
So we've got 5 questions to kind of walk through. If the answer is no at any point, do not tell your child that information. If it's yes, then you can proceed to the next question. And we've got 5 questions. Are you ready, Michael?
I'm ready. I like it.
Okay. And so if thinking about this piece of information, the thing that you're going to tell your child, the first question to ask yourself is this information necessary for my child?
Is there a tool that they use to determine necessary or what's necessity? Or is that just something
if your first thought is yes, this child needs to know this information, we'll just keep continuing because the next questions will filter it out for you.
Perfect. Oh, you guys are so lucky. Okay. Is this information necessary for my child?
If the answer is no, don't tell them. If the answer is yes, we'll move on to question 2. Question 2, will this information help my child emotionally? So what that means is, will it reduce any anxiety they might be experiencing? Will it add clarity for them?
Yeah. Ask it again. I'm writing it down. Will this information
help my child emotionally?
Help my child emotionally. Okay.
If the answer is no, don't tell them. Keep it to yourself. If you think the answer is yes, we'll keep going to the third question just to make sure.
All right.
So third question, does this support their relationship with both parents? So this information that you're wanting to share with your child, does it support their relationship with their mother, with their father? If this information is going to make your child have to choose sides or even have the inkling of doubt of who do I need to pick, then the answer is no, do not share that with them.
Okay.
If it's a yes, we're going to keep going to question 4. Am I sharing this for their needs or mine? So are you sharing this information you've already gotten through? Is it necessary? It's going to help emotionally. It's going to support both parents. Am I sharing this for their need or my need? If the answer is no, please find somewhere else to process this. Don't process it with your child.
Yeah.
Find, a friend, a family member, your own counselor, your pastor, your minister, whatever. But if it is something that is not going to be for their need, then I encourage you to find an outlet for yourself.
I'll be a stickler on this one. Am I sharing this for their needs or mine? And if I answer both, right, it's both mine. I think it's a need for me, but I also think it's a need for my kid.
Okay.
Do I move or do I stay? What do I do in that situation?
I think it would be okay. If you really truly are stuck and believe it could be both, I think it'd be okay to
move on.
To move on to 5.
If I end on, am I sharing this for their needs or mine? If I end on mine, it's for my needs. I don't go any further. I stop there.
Correct.
But if it is for their need, move.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. Now we're on 5.
And our last question to ask yourself as you're thinking about this, can I say this without blaming, shaming, or diagnosing the other parent? I know you're laughing, Michael, because I can't think of how many times we've gotten medical mental health diagnoses from an ex about their co-parents.
Yeah, TikTok's really good about telling them who their ex is, right?
So, can you say this information to your child without blaming, shaming, or diagnosing their other parent? And so as you're walking yourself through with this information you're sharing or you're wanting to share, if you've made it all the way to 5, then chances are it is a safe bet to go ahead and share that with your child. So if it doesn't protect your child's peace, it probably doesn't belong in their ears.
So if I'm a parent and I've got a backstory and I really feel it's helpful for the child to know the backstory, I should filter it through these 5 steps.
Absolutely.
Okay. They don't need a backstory. And let's say that. They don't need a backstory. But what if they want one? Right? And you go, okay, you want a backstory. Got it. Before I give you anything in a backstory, let me go through a filtering process.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if any of those you have a no on it, that means no go, don't share. But you got yeses until question 4. If it lands on theirs or both, you can go ahead and move. These are phenomenal questions.
Yeah. I think sometimes I get parents in my office that with the best intent, right? They want to share, they think it's going to help, they think whatever. But sometimes when you're so caught up in your emotion and your self-preservation and all of those pieces, you don't actually stop to think, how will this impact my child?
Yeah, parents they'll almost play the game of trying to convince you why the child needed to know this information when you can tell by the way it's been described that it was really for the parent, it wasn't really for the kid. And what's really hard, I know you do this too, you flinch a little bit when a kid shares something with you that you know is parental in nature, and it has there would never be a time you'd be like, the kid needs to know that, or the kid needs to know about. I mean, I had a kid come in and go, what's the age again that I can go talk to the judge and they'll do what I want to do?
Yeah.
What's the age? Like, oh, it's a certain age? It's a certain age? Yeah. I think it's a certain age. I don't remember, but I think it's, and they start trying to remember what they were told on what the age was. Or they'll come in and say, yeah, we can't go eat at so-and-so, or Christmas is going to be different this year because my mom hasn't been getting child support, or dad doesn't pay, or however that answer comes out. I've heard that before too.
And Michael, it breaks my heart when I hear kiddos share that.
I know it does.
There's so many things already going on in this world, so many things to worry about that we're trying to protect our kids from, that we don't need to add to that. We don't need to give them the rest of the adult stuff. Just let them be kids and enjoy.
I mean, I was told about a case where the parent, this one parent is on supervision, and when the other parent takes the kid to be dropped off, I guess the parent can, in this type of supervision, they can bring like snacks or food or whatever. This parent brings like McDonald's, like something that's not even prepared by them. And the other parent that would brought him would say things to him like, I wouldn't eat that because it could be poisoned. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that is, how is that helpful to the child to say, hey, it could be poisoned? Your parent is poisoning you? Sometimes parents say things, like you said, I think that there's a difference between their intention and then what actually happens.
Absolutely.
And this decision tree is a great way to say, this is how you can discern that your intention is going to land the way it's supposed to. So what you're trying to accomplish actually happens. You have now created 5 questions to protect parents from harming their children in an alienative, in a coaching type, or an oversharing type of way, and you're telling me it happened in 5 questions. That's crazy. So I mean, if you're listening to this episode right now, it would behoove you. If you have to rewind, that's fine, but it'd behoove you to go back, get these 5 questions out, start thinking about all the different topics either that your kids asked you about or that you wanted to share, and you start filtering through this process so that way you can ensure that you are not oversharing, sharing things you shouldn't be sharing with your kids. Because here's the thing, these parents will get called into courtrooms and they will be put on the stand and they will be grilled for the things they may have said to their kids.
Yeah.
And for them to say, I have a process that I use to discern how I approach conversations with my child, and I do it through a decision tree of questions because I want to make sure that I'm not sharing something I shouldn't. This doesn't mean that they'll agree with you. It doesn't mean that they're going to say, oh, well, you went through your 5 questions, and so, yeah, it must be okay. They still may disagree, but at least you have a protocol you use, right?
A tool to navigate the situation.
Yeah, to discern what's in the best interest. There we go. What's in the best interest of the child, right? So getting there. So
the role that we all play here.
Well, that's what they all say. I mean, everyone's saying the best interest, and everyone's doing something different, I mean.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, that kind of brings me into just the final, like, common scenarios, right, that we hear all the time that could play into the use of the decision tree. One of the big ones we get is, why did y'all divorce, right? Your child might ask you that question. Why did y'all divorce?
Well, if the child's asking one of you, they're probably asking both of you, right? Or one of you said something, and so now they're clarifying with the other one. Because you know what the common thing that kids say, too, is, I don't know who to believe.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Have you heard that before?
Gosh.
I don't know who to believe.
4 times this week.
You had that 4 times this week?
It feels like it.
You probably did. I had it last week, and I had it this week. So I think I've had it twice, I think. 2 times that a kid has said, I don't know who to believe.
Yeah.
It just hurts your heart.
These are parents causing these problems for them.
I don't know who to believe. And it could be the questions they've asked or the things that were told and then they want to verify. I always tell parents, don't get defensive when a kid uses a question. That means they don't know. It's when they make statements that they've already made their mind up.
Well, and if they're questioning, that also means they feel safe with you to be able to ask them with you. I've had a couple of kids that are scared to even ask their parents about that, about whatever it is that they're bringing up. So really, be grateful for that you have created a space that is safe for your child to be able to ask these questions.
Yeah, and one of the common questions is, why did you divorce? That's going to be a scenario you're going to come across.
Yeah.
So what are you suggesting they do when that question comes up?
I mean, something that would be appropriate in protecting your child is letting them know that you had adult problems. You and the mother, you and the father, you and, the other parent had adult problems that y'all were not able to work out.
Right.
And it had nothing to do with the child.
Mm.
That you still love your child. It has nothing to do with them. These were just adult problems. And that keeps it in a way to where you're separating the relationship, right? The relationship with you and your ex-partner, and you're able to still maintain the relationships with your child and their parents. So that's staying away from talk of affairs, talk of betrayal, any legal drama, any diagnoses, oh, my ex is a narcissist. Like, you're taking away all of that extra fluff that could be harmful for the child. You're keeping them safe by saying it was just an adult issue that we could not figure out.
Yeah, it's what we did, not why we did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what we did is we got divorced because of adult problems. Why? Why did y'all have those problems? It's as much as you want to go, let me tell you, yes, it might be best just to go, because adults sometimes have problems. And sometimes the best decision we know to make in that situation is to transition, right, into our different lives. I think the hard part with divorce is typically you have one person who wants divorce and one person who doesn't.
Yeah.
And I had a case recently where a parent had come in and they made it very clear that they didn't want to be divorced. The other parent wanted to be divorced, and they didn't want to be. But the other parent that wanted to be divorced has lost their marriage and lost the kids. And the one that didn't want to be divorced was complaining about the other parent. And I said, was this post-divorce or is this during your marriage too? All these issues that you're describing to me about the other parent, whether it was this post-divorce or was this during the marriage? And I remember they said it was both. It's post-divorce and during the marriage. And I said, but yet you stayed? You're mad that they divorced you, and yet all these problems were present in the marriage too?
Yeah.
And help me understand that. Like, walk me through what you were thinking during that time. Like, I'm living this horrible marriage, but I'm not going to divorce him. But then when he divorces me, I'm going to say, see, he's the bad guy. But yet you're, you know what I mean? Like, I just, that was a tough one for me, because I'm like, I don't, that's not going to work.
Response to that?
They were a little stuck. They kind of like look back and like, well, Michael, you just made a point that I didn't want to have to accept. I didn't want you to have to tell me that, and that's okay. I don't say it to hurt you. I say it because if I don't care about you, I'm not going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, even in therapy, it plays out. I'm going to push on you because I want the best version of you to come out.
Yeah. And if you're going to a space where you're hearing what you want to hear, then
go get your hair done. Yeah, go get your hair done. They'll tell you which one here. They'll be like, girl, what? What happened? No. That's go get your hair done. If you're there.
There's no growth in
No.
In the same just space.
No, I'm not a validate only therapist. I hear you, I'll acknowledge, and then I'm going to ask you some questions to kind of move through that. Because especially if you're complaining about something, that means to me that you don't want to stay there. I'm assuming, my natural assumption is you don't want to stay in that situation. You want things to get better. So I'm going to ask you some tough stuff. And I think if parents are open to that, and kids, because your kids have to be open to it, because they come in, I do the same thing to them. I'll ask them hard stuff. I'm going to push on them too, because I want them to grow. And kids are more, it's funny, kids are actually more receptive to the push than the parents.
They really are. I wonder if it's just because they've experienced less life at this point, so they're open for new experiences.
Yeah.
They're hopeful.
They're hopeful.
I think we mentioned that before. The hope.
The hope.
Piece.
That's right.
What is a key piece?
So other common scenarios you've seen, the kids are asking, why did you divorce? Kids are asking, what happened?
Yeah. Oh, like I had I actually had a kid say, well, I'll say it differently, but if your child comes up to you and says, "Oh, other parent says you're the reason that they're sad all the time. You're the reason that they're not happy anymore." I've definitely had kiddos either bring that up to the other parent or, bring it to me of, well, this parent said this and that's why this is happening. But if you find yourself in that situation, something appropriate that you could tell your child is, "I'm sorry that you're feeling like you're caught in the middle. You don't have to carry these things. This isn't about you." And kind of giving them that space to shut it down.
Yeah. I've had a parent say, in the Counter Alienation course, we teach 5 sense language. And so one of the things you say too is, it sounds like, so if I'm the dad, because being a male, but if I'm the dad and the kid says, Mom said you're the reason all these horrible things are happening, or she's, she's struggling so much because of you, I would probably say something like, it sounds like your mom and I need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like your mom has some really strong emotions about things that have happened and she needs to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Sounds like she's struggling. And what it does is it validates what the kid told you, but it also puts the parameters back on, is mom going to really talk to my dad? Now, if mom chooses not to talk to dad, the kid's no longer stuck because the kid goes, well, my mom's just complaining. She's not trying to fix. And you've set that dynamic up just by saying it sounds like your mom wants to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids know. I mean, kids know more than you think they know anyway, because they watch. They're really good observers.
Yeah, I see in everything.
And I mean, I told a parent the other day, I said, you really think that when you walk in your back bedroom and you're having a conversation with a family member or whatever about your ex, your kids aren't sitting at the door as soon as they hear mom's name come out of your mouth? Like if dad's talking about mom to his neighbor, like he's outside, let's say cutting the grass, neighbor's out there, and he starts talking to the neighbor about his ex-wife, as soon as the kid knows what the conversation's about, the kid knows that's their parent, their ears either go to the window, they go outside, they hide in the garage. They're going to do something to figure out what's being discussed, because that person actually is half of them. So these parents, you're not crafty at all. I've had kids learn information, and a parent's been shocked the kid knew it. And I said, why don't you tell them how you learned? And they said, oh, well, remember yesterday you were talking to grandma on the phone in your bedroom? Yeah, I was at the door. I had my ear against it.
Well, and the crazy thing, you reminded me, that was something else that I wanted to say on here today.
Go ahead.
The crazy thing is sometimes they just do it out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so common, going over to grandma's house and everyone's bad-mouthing the other parent, or going over to...
They're on speakerphone. They've got the line going through the car and the kids in the back seat, and they think, oh, they're playing their game on their phone, but they're really listening to the conversation you're actually having with the person. Trust me, your kids, those antennas are on all the time.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh, sorry, that was brought up yesterday too. So that was...
Oh, that's happened yesterday. Yeah, yeah. It's, and I think that's the difference between good intent, right, and being a human, which is your imperfect boo-boos that you're going to make. And I think what do you suggest these parents, if they're listening to this particular episode, and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't have this decision tree and I've already messed up. What should they do?
Well, I think it's, awareness is that first piece, and understanding, oh, I've been operating in this way before I knew, is, kind of step one. And I think that's your opportunity to operate in a new way as you're moving forward. And because you now have this tool and you understand what is it that my child needs or doesn't need, if questions about previous things have come back up, then you now know how to address them and to move forward.
If a parent goes to their kid and says, I owe you an apology, I let my own hurts that I experienced with your mom or your dad get the best of me, and it put me in a position to say things to you that you never should have been a part of, or to share things with you that I shouldn't have. And I'm sorry, that's actually my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that should have never been yours, and I hope you understand that I didn't mean to do that to you. Like, what difference do you think something like that would make?
Oh my gosh. I have 3 kids that just came to mind that would absolutely have the whole world lifted off their shoulders. If
a parent would do that.
Them.
Do you know that in the reunification formula that we created, and I say we, is really what parents created, and I just learned the pattern. The step 1 is what we call the self-audit. It's really that first step of going, hey, I need to recognize where I got this wrong. And that's and then they start to apologize for their own self-audit of self, going, I messed up, here's what I should have done better. Kids love that stuff. Even me as a therapist, when I walk out, let's say I run late for our session, I pull a kid and said, dude, I am so sorry, it's my fault. You've been so patient with me. Thanks for waiting on me, kiddo. Man, this session just goes swimmingly.
Yeah, it's the accountability piece. I think
I love it.
is seeking. Everyone's struggling to hold themselves accountable, and people are struggling with, and their partners, their people, the other relationships are struggling with that as well.
Yeah, we expect others to be accountable, but we don't want to be self-accountable kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're in a culture like that now, aren't we? Unfortunately.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, hopefully we'll get. Hey, we're offering them a way to switch. So, what else would you like to share with the listeners before we wrap it up, Ariel?
Well, that really was it. Just really helping you kind of understand, what do kids need? What don't they need? What are some tools? What are the 5 questions I can ask myself before I disclose information? Some common scenarios. And I'll just leave you with this. Be mindful of the soundtrack that you are creating for your child, because they're going to carry that with them a lot longer than they're going to carry the story.
Yeah. So sing the song different. You will do anything for love, and you will do that. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, I am so cheesy. I'm the worst. I hope the listeners like this guy. He's crazy. Well, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Arianna, what a great topic. I did not expect it to kind of transition the way that it did. Like when you gave the formula, like these are 5 things. I mean, that was just huge. What a phenomenal thing to give them. And listeners, you guys got a treat today. You got a specific way of doing this. I think what we can do is maybe put the 5 questions in the show notes, as Janan likes to say.
Yeah.
You know, she loves to talk about the show notes that she doesn't write.
Oh,
but that's okay. She's like, go to the notes. But anyway, I think the 5 should be in the notes for sure. I think that would be helpful. Yeah. So listeners, thank you so much. If you wrote them down, great. Getting started. We'll get those in the notes. And of course, if you ever go back and re-listen to this, to kind of refresh your memory, feel free to do that. We appreciate you so much. For those of you that don't know, we do have, if you go to our website at brighterpossibilitiesfc.com, we do have some courses that are coming up. The current course, if you're interested, is called Countering Alienation. It is a phenomenal course, not to prove it. You're not here to prove alienation. You're here to counter. You're here to learn how to manage and work with it. And it's really cool because it will help you preserve relationships with your kid and also help you to develop a way of communicating, interacting with the co-parent who you may believe is alienating. And I want to give you guys as many tools as I can to help you and serve you. I hope you'll check it out. We have gotten phenomenal feedback from the course. And when I say phenomenal, I mean it has been extremely impressive that parents are coming back to me saying the things I'm trying to do to counter alienation, I realized I was doing myself. And so it almost created a self-audit on themselves, which was freaking amazing. So people were getting such a therapeutic flavor of what they can do to be better in themselves just by taking the course. Not just what to do, but how can I do it better? Awesome stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, please look at that at brighterpossibilitiesfc.com and go under courses tab, and it's Countering Alienation. And also, Arianna, you are now you're doing a pilot program.
Yes, the Reunification Support Project. So parents, if you are a non-unifying parent, if you're experiencing just strong emotions and struggling through, this reunification process that might have been ordered for your child and your ex, we are offering services. We want to make sure that you have a place to feel heard and validated and processed through some of these things that you have going on. So reach out to us if you're interested in pursuing kind of your own counseling. And
yeah, for those parents that are not reunifying, you guys get caught in the middle a lot. You kind of get pegged as a bad guy or the villain or the one who's preventing things from occurring, and you kind of feel like you're always in a defensive stance. And we want to give you a chance to not feel that way, not to kind of know, how do I navigate the stuff that I'm out? And then the reunification is so much therapy spent between the reunifying parent and the kid, and you're left in the waiting room or feeling a little left out from kind of what to do or how should I respond. Arianna says, I got your back. Yeah. So if you need to seek out that, or if you're a parent who's just stuck, Arianna's got you. So come on in, come see us, and we'll be here to help you. For those of you that are interested, I'm really glad you did that program. I cannot wait to get feedback from you on that. It's going to probably help me so much in those reunification meetings I have with kids too. And I know you also do reunification, so you're kind of doing a lot. But I'm
excited to be able to help, those parents in need as well.
100%. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. Keep moving forward, everyone.